The Morning Brew podcast with Jaffe and Razor, sponsored by Berkshire Bank Home Lending. Where you borrow matters. Welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, presented, yes, by Berkshire Bank. And again, we welcome Berkshire Bank this week as the presenting sponsor of the show. We thank them. Razor, this is what is going to be called commando style Morning Brew. Yeah. This is going to be, and I don't mean sans undergarments.
That's what I was thinking right away. So, yeah. All right.
This is going to be in and out, buddy. As even though you and I aren't getting to go on vacation per se, there's still that feeling of, all right, 6 days off after the Boston Bruins beat the Seattle Kraken 3-2 at TD Garden on Tuesday night to go into the break with 26 wins and 55 points. So we're just going to run through a few things and then we're going to get off because you and I, we need a break. We need a break. And with that said, we're probably going to do a Morning Brew in a couple of days again, just to have a little fun with some fans, take some listener questions and stuff like that. Listen, let's face facts. The Bruins were not bad in the first. Both teams were all right. Second period, Bruins were pretty good. Third period, it was like the Bruins let up. They completely let up, but yet they found a way to win, thankfully, with the help of David Pastrnak. No other way in my eyes, buddy, to describe this as an ugly win. But a win is a win, and it's one of those 1 of 82 games that you just got to find a way.
And it's one of those wins where we talked about in the last show or one of the last few shows they combined together that the Bruins beat the teams that aren't very good. Mm-hmm. The bottom teams, they find a way to win. So we can be frustrated by this team at times. You want them to be 26. You want them to be 38 and 2, whatever that number lines up as. But this is what they are. They find ways to win. They're good enough in this league, which says a lot for everyone to recognize that it says a lot to be able to beat a team the way they did tonight. That still does put them in the upper half of the league. There's 17 teams that can't do what they did tonight. And Seattle's one of them. It was very obvious that they couldn't win that game. So the ugly wins are still a positive in a certain aspect.
It has to be. We get oftentimes lost in the bigness of the league. And then sometimes you just got to remember it is, especially this time of year, it's cliche time, but it's one game at a time. It's get through it. It was come third period. You talked about it in post game on Nesson. Third period, everybody's on vacation, right? Everybody's starting to think about where
especially
they're going.
2-0 at home. They're literally, their guys are literally thinking, all right, I have 6. They're counting their shifts. If you're on the fourth line, I've got 3 shifts. If I'm on the first line, I've got 6 shifts. And I am going home to my wife, to my kids, to my girlfriend, and we are getting on a plane probably at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I mean, when I was on teams in the National Hockey League, my flight was literally at 6 a.m. next day.
Yeah.
Could not get out of wherever I was going early enough. And we would all see each other at the airport. We weren't making enough money for the private jets at that point. So guys might have private jets now this week, but there's still enough guys flying commercial, and they'll be at Logan Airport at 6 a.m.
Let's discuss that.
That's when the wives book it. The wives are booking the plane, and they're out of here.
Let's discuss this because this is important. It really isn't, but I'm going to make it important. What does a private plane cost, you think, to go, whether it's to Florida or to Bermuda or Bahamas, somewhere that's within, 3-4 hours? What are we talking? 10 grand? Are we talking?
I think we're talking $3 or $4 grand an hour and it's all based on you can. It's so much easier now, right? Technology is so much better than what it was. And yeah, you get your shares. You put your 25 grand down, and you get your couple hours here and there, and it definitely comes through in the clutch when you can get on the plane tomorrow morning without having to go through customs.
So if you use it 3 times, even if it's just 2 of you, but if you use it 3 or 4 times during the year, and you're making between 4 and 6 mil a year, a freaking heartbeat.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Not even nothing. And on this trip, like All-Star break, all right, we're gonna, 3 couples are gonna go on the one bird, and we'll split this up evenly. Like it's a no-brainer for sure.
Yeah, it has to be done. I'm curious. It'd be fun to find out how many of them are doing it, but I'm with you.
It's always the sneaky ones too, though. It's always like the random guy you don't think, but he ends up on a bird. He always ends up on a random plane.
Yeah, stowaway, right? But
exactly.
It's just, there's no question about it that the guys were literally, cars were started. You know what I mean? They were getting warm.
Yep.
They were getting ready to get out. Now, not an excuse. They did get sloppy. Bruce Cassidy talked about not respecting the puck enough of the game and taking care of the puck in the third period, which wasn't wrong. But then they find a way off of a goal that, quite honestly, was lucky. Like that to me, that's a Seattle goal against right there. Just like Seattle had the other night against New York, they tied up with a minute and a half left or whatever it was.
Exactly the same as that game, yes.
And then New York scores with 30-something seconds left to win it off of a face-off. Like therein lies Seattle. By the way, Seattle's not. When I say they're not bad, they're not good. I know it. Their defense is physical. They are, and they're missing Carson Soucy. They're missing Jamie Oleksiak. These are big men that they're missing. They were still physical, right? Mm-hmm. They're staying in games. I think if they had any good goaltending, I mean, did they? Oh my God, did they miss on Grubauer? They thought they were getting something that I know he's been better lately, but 6-something mil for that. And then Driedger, he wasn't bad, but the last goal was one that he's going to have to say, I should have had the pasta shot there. But
and you look at the shots on goal again, and he gives up 3 on 26. I mean, that's a killer in the National League. So yeah, their team's good enough, but they certainly screwed up on the back end, the very, very, very back end.
The goaltend, yeah, they did. I mean, they're I'm curious if they'll be looking to move any of their pieces. I think they
Bruins
will.
Bruins fans out there, the Seattle Kraken are spending $9 million a year on goaltending, and the Boston Bruins, they're spending $6 million at the very most.
For 3 goalies.
For 3 goalies, they're spending $6 million. Just
now,
let that sink in on management and organization.
I actually thought it was more than 9, Razor, because I thought Grubauer was 6 point something. I don't have it in front of me.
Not per. He's 6, like over 2. He's 3.
Who is?
He's like a 3 guy. Driedger. And Grubauer is 5 or 6. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I thought Driedger was 10 over 3 years.
I think he's 3 for 10.
Okay, so that's 3 1/4, right? 3.3.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I thought Grubauer was 6.2 or something like I thought they were closer to 10 million, which is whoa. Yeah. By the way, they weren't expecting they were not expecting Grubauer to be available. This I know. They go out and they get Driedger right away, right? They got that.
Yes.
And they thought that he'd be their guy along with
I'm going to put Joey Daccord out there because he's a Boston guy. Andover, stop at goaltending.
Yeah.
Joey Daccord can play. And
so they had Joey, but then they also but then they also had the kid Vitek Vanacek. Remember, they drafted him.
Right.
And then they get a call. The Kraken got a call from the agent of Grubauer saying, "Hey, he's available. He's interested." And they were like, "Oh, okay. I'm going to pull up his contract." But I'm telling you, man,
I'm going to say it's 525 or 525.7. So he's like, right? I think that it's somewhere in there. I don't think
you
he
might be
got all the
right.
way to 6.
I thought it was something more.
But either way, whatever it is, it's wrong. Whatever it is,
5 point. Okay, here we go, buddy. All right, we're both right. Grubauer 5.9. Dreger 3.5.
Yeah.
So for those two guys, it's 9.4 in their goaltending.
Yeah. So
those,
I don't want to.
Those two. Yeah.
It drives me crazy when I hear people complain about Allmark's contract. Look at Philip Grubauer, 5.9.
Yeah. Linus Ullmark, 6.1. Actually, I beg your pardon. $5 million.
Yeah.
Tuukka, $1 million prorated. So they're at $6 million. Throw in the $925 for Jeremy Swayman. And you're still under $7 million for 3 guys. Not bad.
Very efficient.
Yeah. So, okay. I mean, we're looking at this and we're saying, so we're calling it the halfway point, even though they're 2 games past. But if the Bruins continue to play out at the winning percentage that they are, compared to the Caps, they actually still finish, like, I know it's not possible, but a point behind them. Caps are at a 641 win percent. Bruins are at a 640%. So just as a reminder to folks, in case you've forgotten, and I don't blame you if you've forgotten because of how the NHL's been, with COVID messed up the last couple of seasons. If the Bruins make the playoff as the second wild card, they play the top team in the conference. And right now that would be Florida. It would work out. It would be Florida. If they finish in the 7th spot, though, then they could cross over and play the top team from the Met, which right now is a tie between Carolina and the Rangers. Although winning percentage, Carolina's way above Rangers, and it would probably end up being Carolina. Those are both good teams. Those are both good teams that they would have to face. And I'm not going to sit here and say, could they beat either one of those teams? Because as they're constructed right now, I don't think they could. However, you've got a ways to go. We talked at length about other things that the Bruins need in the last show when we did their halfway review. But, I guess the question I throw out to you, does it matter if they finish 7 or 8 to you at all?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter to me at all. I think assuming they make a tweak here or there, assuming that everybody gets healthy, assuming all of those things, if you're a number 1 or a number 2 seed, do you want to play this Patrice Bergeron, Brad Marchand, David Pastrnak, Taylor Hall in the first round? It's hard, no matter what. In this Eastern Conference, there is no easy one. There just won't be. There's no way you can get through the first round unscathed on the Eastern Conference. So whether you're first or whether you're 8th, it's the same to me. It really is, and it's already exposed itself. It's already there. You've got 8 really good teams. Yeah. Really good teams. And a bunch of studs. All just studs. Like, there's so many good hockey players. There's so many good hockey players. It's going to be amazing.
And let's not look past Toronto, because their winning percentage is actually above Tampa Bay right now. They're just barely behind Florida. Toronto's on a tear the last couple of games. A lot of come from behind victories, but they're also starting to score a shitload of goals, which is their game. Wow. I'm still not buying their defense and goaltending come playoffs.
The Toronto goaltending's coming up right now. It's Campbell's starting to give up 4 or 5 goals every game, and now they need 7 goals a game. And Kenny playing the playoffs, it's not good.
And is Mrazek going to be the guy? Our team's calling about Mrazek. There's a whole ton of stuff to look at there, but I'll keep saying it again. And our listeners are not even, they're not fans. I hate calling them fans. Our buddies. That's what they are. They're Bru buddies. Okay, I like that better. It's kind of cheesy, actually. Bru buddies sounds dumb.
Yeah, it was too cheesy. But they're
really cheesy.
They know.
They are.
They know.
But yeah,
Bruins we've talked about it. They need a tweak.
They have.
They're also not more, someone. Don't you think it's more than a tweak? Play. No one wants to play them. No one wants to play them, though. They don't. No one wants to play these guys.
Well, I think I think there's an aura around the Bergeron, Marchand, Pastrnak
Yes,
group.
there is.
I'm good with that
There is.
with that vibe, but I don't think that there's enough fear of playing against the Bruins defense, though, bud. I don't. I think the big guys of the Florida Panthers say, you know what? We respect the hell out of those guys that we just mentioned, but if we put those pucks in deep and we shut them off, whew, they're going to have a hard time. Now, you make some trades, and we already talked about it the other day. We both agree that that's what needs to be done. But I'm not. I think there is a mystique, a respect. I mean, about the Bergeron, Marchand, Pasta. I do. With you. But the other stuff, I'm not sure. Now, the other thing though that the Bruins have, and let's touch on Tuukka Rask right now. Let's touch on this. But if Tuukka and Ullmark are both healthy, and they're both playing well come playoff time, that's another thing that other teams will highly respect. But before we can even start prognosticating about that, crystal balling that, what do we think about where Tuukka's at right now? So now he hasn't played. Is it 4 or 5 days now? And he's going on vacation somewhere, I'm guessing, right? And
assuming they got to let him go.
Assuming, right? I mean, because he's not practicing for the next couple of days. How does this thing play out? And I know we don't have the actual answers, but this is all of a sudden from it's really nothing, he'll be back, to now we're talking upwards of 8 days off. That's the last thing that he needs.
Yeah, and what, he played last Monday, so he's already at 8 days now since he played. So now it's going to be another 7. So he's looking at 2 weeks.
You're right. It's more. Yeah,
because he was last Monday against Anaheim. So, and yeah, it's a thing. I think it's going to be a thing for it has to be a thing for this team. It has to be a thing for everybody involved. I think, again, anyone who is criticizing the Ullmark deal, we can go back to that and say that it was a smart play by this organization to get a guy like him in here, because he won a game again tonight that a lesser goalie loses. Put it that way. Like Anaheim, like Colorado, they don't get a point. Like, this guy's it's a little sneaky right now what he's been able to do to get this team to 26-14. And but back to Tuukka, it's going to be a thing until he gets on a roll, until he plays. It's certainly a thing that this group has to deal with, and it'll be very interesting where they're at next Tuesday. It's interesting, and I don't know the answer.
Yeah, if he hasn't practiced, when are they going to come back and practice? Next Sunday? I'm sorry, on Sunday or Monday? Yes. I'm assuming Monday, Sunday, for sure. Right? No, Monday. Well,
they Sunday, Sunday, maybe a Sunday afternoon practice, Monday practice, because that'll give them like 6. Yeah, they're going to be back by Sunday.
Right. Okay.
So
he gets 2 practice. We know he's trips. We know he's not going to start on Tuesday. You know that, against Pittsburgh. There's no way.
No.
In fact, I think that's where you start Jeremy Swayman, especially if he goes down to Providence and plays at least one game this weekend. Then you say to the kid, you're starting it's a perfect start. You start Tuesday against 100%. Pitt, and you go do that.
And for that reference, I got those starts when I was in the minors. Literally, when I was 21, I got called up to Long Island, Nassau Coliseum, at the end of the Olympic break in 2002, right? There was an Olympic break in 2002, Salt Lake City. I got that call up, flew up day of the game, played in Nassau that night because I'd played 3-3 the weekend before. So I ended up playing 4 and 5.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what happened.
Right now, as it is, I'd be shocked if Ullmark doesn't. Now the question becomes, is that too much time off for Linus? But on the other hand, you have a kid who's played a couple of games. Again, if I had money to bet, I'd say I'd put some green down on that.
Ducats.
Happening. Yeah, on that. I guess what you hope is we'll wrap up the Tuukka part here, is you hope that when he comes back from the break, that he can go right to practice, and it can be he's in great shape. It's now we have to get him going again, because the only other thing they could do, and I don't even know if they really can work it out, the only way to get him on a conditioning stint, I mean, maybe they can say, look, he has to agree to it. That's the one thing. He has to agree to go down for the conditioning stint. And maybe this time, maybe he will. Maybe this will be the time for him to go do that. Which would mean they'll probably, down there for 4 or 5 days or whatever. He'd play a couple of games and then come back up. I mean, it's not like you have to live down there. You just drive to Providence or wherever they're playing. But maybe that's the way they end up doing it post-break. But it's going to be fascinating to see how he is, how his body is, and what they are able to do with him.
It's going to be. Or does he dig in and, all right, let's go. Now we're on our run. I don't know. I don't know. And does a game in Providence help him? Does a game matter to him? Does he just need to dial it up? There's a bunch of, it's really interesting.
Does it matter to him? I understand what you're saying, because it's not the same pace. It's not the same shots that are coming at him. But you know what? I think it does, because it's game scenario that you will never replicate in even an intense practice. And the Bruins, as we've said before, are not in position coming out of a break to allow a goalie to just work his way back in over. Now it could be another 2 weeks. And so it's another 4 games. You know what I mean? You can't sacrifice, in my opinion, those 4 games. I'd rather him take 2 games in Prov. Again, I don't know if he can even do it. There's conditioning stints, but there's certain parameters that have to be agreed upon and met and everything to do that. Oh,
something.
I don't know.
It's interesting.
It will be interesting. What you don't want it to do is become a distraction, though. That's the other thing. Are we past that? I don't know.
No, we're not even close to past that. We're just getting involved in that.
That's true.
And we all know that. And we can look at each other sideways, but we're just getting involved in that.
Earl Vaakanainen gets hit hard from behind from Yanni Gourde. Yanni Gourde is a very physical, determined player, the type of player who plays with the chip on his shoulder at all times, given that he was an unrestricted free agent, undrafted type player, made the most of it, signed a 5-year, $5 million a year contract with Tampa, won cups with them.
The kind of guy that wins.
Yeah.
Stanley
wins.
Cups.
And then he gets released, so to speak, to the Kraken. He was just exposed to the Kraken. And now, I mean, this is the type of players, and I'm not going to say he's ultra dirty, but that was not a clean hit. Okay? That wasn't a clean hit at all. I know we talked about it on Nesson. I think it's worth revisiting here, though. I was driving home trying to figure, how the hell, what justification could they have made to say it's just a minor? And, talking to other officials, and I don't know, they agreed. You see blood, the head's been hit. It's not just an unfortunate play there. Whether Yanni Gourde meant it or not, he hit a guy from behind enough, the head makes contact with the glass, the face gets cut, whether it's by the shield or by whatever, and the guy grabs his head because he hits the cement glass, basically, Razor.
Yeah, no, it's 5 minutes. And it wasn't dirty. It wasn't, I'm going to go take this guy out of the game. I'm going to take it. Yanni Gourde was trying to play physical, but he messed up. It's 5 minutes. See you later. Try and kill a 5-minute penalty. It's very simple to take the game in control as a referee. It's very simple to get it. Gourde would leave that game with a 5-minute major, no problem.
Right.
I got it. I screwed up. I apologize. I feel bad. He probably went around the entire night feeling, man, I feel horrible that happened. I really didn't mean that to happen. And I would rather get taken out of the game too, because I didn't mean to do that.
Right.
But I did it. So give me a 5-minute major. It's one of those, it's not suspendable. Don't kick him out of the league, but give him 5 minutes. right? Like, just give them 5 minutes. It's so much easier for
it's in the rule book.
The National League. It's in the rules, like the whole thing, everything. And then you see ticky-tack penalties that get the same as that. It's so frustrating as a player because everybody on the ice, everyone in the rink knows that should have been 5 and gone. See you later, Yanni. We don't think anything badly of you, but you needed to go and serve 5 minutes and go away. That's just it. And sometimes the referees just make it harder. Now Lazar has to go fight a guy. Now Forbert has to fight a guy. And all the players on the ice don't really want to do that either. Lazar would rather just go and play. Like, he doesn't want to. And that's the frustrating part. It really is, because it's obvious.
I felt these refs were bad. I felt they were bad.
Like, getting a lot of bad
in the game
calls.
I did. I thought that I thought they mismanaged a lot of plays, a lot of calls. Yeah, I don't think they had a feel for it. But you move on from it, and you hope that Vaakanainen, who was looking good.
I really like him.
So if he's out, you're already without Zaboro. Now you're, we talked about repetitive assets on the blue line. You can maybe use one of them for a trade.
Well, it is good timing, right? Vaakanainen, you got to assume he'll be back in 8 days. It would be a stretch if he isn't, because that's a long time.
But you never know with the head injuries.
I get it. You never know. And you have Frederick out and you have Foligno out. Who knows with those guys? You just assume that. I guess that I'm just trying to be positive, and the timing as well is good for him because of that. But he looks like an NHL defenseman. And Zaboro too. So now, if you project, what does September look like?
Well, I just want to get through February now.
All right.
All right. So you brought up Forbert. I thought he had a hell of a game. I did. Thought he played really well. Tomas Nosek played very well against the Kraken. That was the first time in his 5 games where he's been elevated up the lineup, where I really felt I noticed him even more. He's played a couple of games as the third line center, one as a second line center. I think he had 1 or 2 as a left wing on the third line. But I in my notes, I had him. This is his 5th time that I called him elevated up. And you know how much of a fan I am of his, just in general, in the 4th line. Such an impact player there, but I thought he was really good with Hall and Pastrnak. Those guys continue to go. Bergeron's line, actually, for a while, first period, holy smokes, they had chances. They didn't always hit the net, but they each had a couple of good chances and all. So, listen, overall, all right, found a way to win. That's what this game was when it had it written all over it. Find a freaking way to win it. Don't care if it's pretty.
Yeah, and I know we're going quick, but just one thing. I think without Hall in the lineup the last few days, what do you think?
I think it's a void. I think you realize, Eric
he's actually been pretty good, right?
He's been very good. He creates
that second line center thing. Without him there, actually seems like he might be more of an answer than.
Right. It definitely gives you, it has to give management pause for hope, I guess, that maybe, hey, if, maybe we don't need to go beat the bushes down for a number 2 center. I still think they do add somebody up front, some size somewhere too. I know they have Foligno and Frederick out, but who knows where those guys are with their head injuries and stuff. So even if they come back, are they at the same? Are they willing to do certain things? Are they able to do certain things? But it really can put their effort into adding size and toughness on the back end, necessary size and toughness on the back end. I think, and I think they have, especially with, Hall right now, I had his number somewhere. Hall's actually clipping at almost 50, a pace of like 53 or 4 points. And we talked, I don't know if you remember, we talked when the season began about with power play time and everything. We hoped that he could hit 60, but we'd be thrilled with 50. And he's over that projection right now.
He's there. Even that number at the end of NESN, like 26 points in 33 games at home since he came a Bruin. Like, that's 65-point season. That's
right. So he's pushing the mid 50 range right now for points. Pastrnak is scoring, so that's good. Marshy's Marshy. Bergeron hasn't scored lately like he normally has. And I thought he was going to pop one tonight in the game, and he didn't. But I'm not worried about him per se. Health for him is the big thing. If you can figure out that third line, if you can get Coyle, if you can get whether it's DeBrusk or whoever you trade for or whatever, okay, all right. It all comes back to D to me. It does now. All clear with you to answer your question. Okay, if they can't go out and they don't need to mortgage the future for a number 2 center. For a temporary one, if they can't find a real big trade, keep Holla there for now, but go out and fortify your defense. That would be key. Can you recall? This is a hard question that you don't know I'm asking, but can you recall your best All-Star weekend trip? Can you recall that?
Sure. Well, so we're sticking with All-Star, not Olympic as well, right?
Olympic doesn't count because Olympics every 4 years, and Olympics were 7, 8, 9 days you could go away for. That was like living.
So 2010 Olympics, living in Vancouver, played for Vancouver, got to go to Hawaii because it was a simple little flight over there. That Maui was good. We had some good ones. My favorite one that I look back on was with Hal Gill to Cancun, Mexico. So it was Hal and his wife and my wife.
Thank you for clarifying Mexico. I was thinking perhaps it was Cancun, Wisconsin, but okay.
Okay. I didn't even mean to do that. Got ahead of myself.
So you went to Cancun. All right.
So yes.
Wives, no kids.
We did. No. None of us had kids yet. So it was
even better.
That was Hal was in Pittsburgh. I was in Colorado. And we that was a good one. Oh, we went to Tremblant. I went with Hal to Tremblant from we were in Toronto and we flew. We just went easy one to Mont Tremblant. That was really fun.
Did you ski?
No, the wives skied. Skillsy and I stayed at the bottom of the hill all weekend.
Okay.
So Skillsy's a couple times. We went to, and then later on when we were in Dallas, we went to like Puerto Vallarta for a couple. So yeah, we had good ones. Vale. We did a little bit of both. I love my All-Star breaks, man. I love my All-Star breaks.
Again, All-Star break. There's let's see, All-Star break. I was going to equate it to Christmas vacation for a kid, but Christmas vacation is longer. It's more like where I grew up, we had spring break. They've got 2 breaks here now in New England. You know, I grew up in the Midwest.
Yeah.
So we'd have just Christmas
Me
for
too. In
about
Canada,
10, 12 days.
We had March break. We had March break in Canada. That's it.
Right. Well, but you had Christmas break too. But your Christmas break for me was longer than it is now, at least for my kids here in Boston.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Then we would have a full week in late March, April, and we would have that. So this is more like a spring break type of thing, right? These All-Star, 4-day jaunts somewhere. As a broadcaster, geez, I have a shitty memory. I don't know. I'm sure I did the Florida thing when I was with Atlanta because it was so close, but nothing crazy. I've always also worked, especially being in New England, college stuff. I've always worked over All-Star breaks. It's always been something I've done.
Yeah, the last 10 years you've been doing the bean pod and right in the middle of it.
Not the whole time, but some. Yeah, but also even before that, I would pick up like a national or college game or two somewhere. So working, and we have kids this whole time, so kids screw everything up.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm kidding.
Only half. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the. I know I don't even really remember where we went, but the Toronto one was funny because I'm in the air, literally like we talked about. Like I know I had a flight at 6 a.m. Had a flight at 6 a.m. out of Toronto the next morning, and Dallas Aikens, assistant coaches there. There's 5 coaches there. There's 20 guys, and we're the only ones in going through customs to go our separate ways, and we're all laughing at each other because none of us slept, and we're just trying to get out of town.
But that's when you don't care. Those are glorious. You're like thrilled. Actually, you're happy when the alarm goes off at 4:15, and you jump out at 4:30, and you're at Pearson. at 5,
Such
and you're like,
feeling.
oh, it's such a good feeling. Yes, you're clear, and all of a sudden it's 5:30. You actually look at the duty free, and you're like, should I buy that bottle of tequila? And then you remember where you're going has really good tequila. But then you still justify buying.
The old lady
something,
buys
right?
a bottle of perfume. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. There's nothing like watching people walk through duty free at 5:38 in the morning. I used to do it all the freaking time. I would leave Canada.
I love airports. They're the best.
Oh my God. I'd leave Canada every Thursday when I was with Sportsnet and Hockey Night. I would leave Thursday morning on a 8 a.m. or 7 something a.m. flight to get to Boston to actually, this is when I started my time in Boston, to do a game. And so I'd be leaving, and I would always get there at 6 or 6:30 in the morning, right, to clear and do it quickly. But then you look at these people that are like buying like 4 boxes of Marlboro Reds, and then they're buying 2 liters of like one crappy vodka, and then like the knockoff of the creme de menthe or whatever that's called, the liqueur for the coffee. I always forget the name.
Yeah, the Kahlua.
Bailey's. Kahlua, right? Kahlua.
Yeah.
And they're all like, it's the middle of winter.
Canadians do not pass up duty free. They pay so many taxes all year long that it is their absolute. The reason they travel is to be able to do duty free. That's literally like half of the excitement of their trip is to go to duty free.
It's unbelievable. You're right. And the best thing was,
my parents love duty free.
Oh my God. I hate duty free because it's the same goddamn stuff every week that I'm there.
No, it's even better. I explained to my parents, like, guys, you can go to the big wine box store here in Boston, and it's going to be half as much as duty free. But they're like, no, we'll go to duty free on the way home. Like, I can't get anything here. I'm like, guys, duty free is a ripoff. Right. They love duty free.
Right. The best was this, though, the Canadians. It was 18 degrees out. You walk into the airport, it's 18 degrees. And they're getting their booze and whatever, and they're all like yelling to each other, hey, get this, get that. And they're all wearing T-shirts. They're all wearing T-shirts and shorts, half of them, in the airport in February. I'm like,
they're going to Mexico. It's already started.
Yeah. And I would always thank my lucky stars that I was going on the 49-minute flight. I was shuttling back to either to Boston or I was going to New York. Meanwhile, these people are just like, it's the party train, man. The party plane, I guess. Yeah. Oh my God. It was
Canadians.
Oh, some characters and duty free. Oh yeah.
Oh, and that's so funny.
Yeah, and you get the huge bag of M&Ms, like you've never seen the M&Ms before. That's what they're all getting, these huge bags. And they're checking everything out. I'm like, who buys all this stuff? Seriously, who buys it? Anyways, so they do. Hey, if you're out there listening, go to duty free and support your local government tax free.
Leafs will be hammering the duty free tomorrow morning.
Absolutely. All right. Well, everybody have a wonderful couple of days. Razor and I. Do you have any plans? You're home. You're doing Mr. Mom next few days.
Nothing.
You got nothing. Yeah.
No, next week.
Oh, is it next week? Okay. All right. Well, I've got a college game on Friday night, Northeastern and Vermont, and then a bunch of youth hockey coming up on the weekend. But I think we're going to do a show before then. I think we'll get one in if we can. Maybe we'll do some some friend questions, and if there's anything more or whatever, I don't know. We'll have some fun, and if not, we'll do 15 minutes of bullshit and then get done with it and just do it. That's it. All right, everybody have a wonderful day. The Bruins win 3-2 over Seattle. They find themselves still in the thick. I mean, they're firmly established in the playoff race, and we're just halfway through this season. And we'll come back at you in a couple of days. In the meantime, be safe, be good, and enjoy that coffee.